On 2019, July 22, it was the day when India looked up at the sky with so much anticipation. The day India kept its head high among other powerful nations. It was the day when Chandrayaan was successfully launched into outer space. The excitement that created among 1.3 billion people was not small. But on 1957, October 4th, the excitement of people all around the world was so much more than that. Because that was the day when the entire world for the first time witnessed a spacecraft get launched into atmosphere. Even though it was done by the Soviet Union, that ignited hopes and dreams among million minds across the globe, and also on a teenage boy named Holmer Hickem Jr., who lived in the United States. In this video, I am going to suggest an inspirational movie which is a true story of that boy, October Sky. This movie, which was released in 1999, is directed by Joe Johnston and starred by Jake Gyllenhaal. This inspiring family drama movie is based on the book Rocket Boys by Holmer Hickem Jr., which was published in 1998. This story is happening in 1957 when Soviet Union, which is now Russia, successfully launched the world's first artificial satellite Sputnik 1 into the space. It was marked as a milestone to the human race. In America, there is a town in West Virginia called Coalwood. It was a coal mining town where majority of the men were working in the coal mine. There lived our boy Homer. All he sees and hears is about the launch of Sputnik 1, which made him curious as well as excited. But it was on the clear night of October, he saw the satellite passing through the sky, and that inspired him like anything. It was like a dream for him. He has not seen anything like that before in his life. On that excitement, he plans to build an amateur rocket with his friends. They made one but miserably fails. As a rocketry and space exploration was a new thing that time, there was an unavailability of reference materials in the rocket science. So Homer decided to make friends with his classmate Quentin, whom everyone bullied and mocked him for being a geek. They talked and exchanged ideas, discussed more and more about fuels and models, and they started to build one. In order to weld the nozzle of the rocket, which is a complicated task for the teenage boys, they sought help of Ike Bukowski, who was working in the coal company's machine shop. Homer's father was the chief of the entire coal mine. And because of that, initially, Bukowski refused to help, stating that his father would not like it and also could lose his job when he comes to know about it. But little Homer persuaded Bukowski to get the job done. And it was from his teacher, Miss Riley, Homer gets to know that winning the National Science Fair would help them to get scholarship to study in college. That was the only ticket for him to get out of his town, Coalwood. Usually only 1 or 2 students from his school get scholarship in sports to go for higher education. But Homer was not good at it. Rest all the people would end up working in the coal mine, breathing the dangerous coal dust, and also the coal mine did not have any future. The boys with their rocket made their test run. It flew straight into the mine's office where his father was working, endangering other mine workers. His father gets very furious, scolds him in front of everyone, calls him thief for using company's resources. He also wants Homer not to see with his rocket again in company's property. He finds out that Bukowski helped him for all these things, and as a punishment for that, his dad shifts Bukowski to work in the dangerous coal mine. After all this, Homer gets shattered and the boys backed off too. But Homer convinced the boys that they don't have any future, and without education, all they had were losses from the coal mine in many ways. So they hiked 8 miles to get away from the company's property and finds out a perfect place for running their test. With repeated trials and different competitions, every attempt ends up in failure. Finally, they figured out the problem was with the fuel and they planned to make some changes. On that day they were trying the new fuel. The entire school will be there on the testing site to witness what they were doing. The boys get terrified. They doesn't even know whether the combination of fuel will work or not. But that ends up as a huge success. It amuses the crowd. The crowd cheers. That builds the confidence in them that they could win the science fair. His teacher, who supported Homer, gives him a book on guided missile design, in which the math was a bit hard for him. Still, he tried very hard to understand that. On the next shoot of the rocket, half of the town will be there to witness them. Also, a reporter from a local daily will be there too. Also, the boys get featured in the next day's newspaper. That's when everything turns upside down. Seeing the news, the boys get arrested, assuming that they started a forest fire. That shatters the dream of the boys. They will be done with the rockets. And not so far from that, there will be a huge accident in the mine because he dies in that accident. Homer's dad also gets seriously injured and gets hospitalized for many days. They also fear of losing an eye and not able to work again. Homer had the guilt that because he had to go to the mine because of him, and in order to support the family, Homer decided to quit the studies and start working on the mine. For his dad, the mine was everything. He always wanted his son Homer to work in the mine and follow his path. He was so proud that Homer was doing exceptionally good in the mine, and he speaks highly of him. But Homer was never happy in the mine. On one day, he gets to know that his teacher who supported him, Miss Riley, is sick, so he goes to meet her. Talking with her again ignited the sparks of rocket dreams in him. He became sleepless and started to work on the mathematical formula of their rocket's trajectory. With the help of his friend Quentin, he cracks the solution and proves that they didn't start the forest fire. That's when he decides he is never going back to the coal mine, and he strongly believes that his place is in outer space. After winning the local science fair, they go straight into the national science fair. Nothing was easy for Homer, and nothing was easy for the Rocket Boys either. But they tried and tried so hard, and they won the national science fair. All of them were handed the scholarship, and all the Rocket Boys graduated from the college. Each of them find out their way out of coal mine. And yes, the coal mine was not their life. It also got shut down in the coming years. After all the failures and hardship, the courage to step away from the crowd and try a new path, holding tightly onto the dreams. This movie of Homer has always inspired me personally. And that is the reason I would recommend everyone to watch this movie. Those who watch this film, please let me know your thoughts and comments about this film on the comment box below. Subscribe to this channel for more movie suggestions. Until the next suggestion, I wish you could watch a lot of good movies. Until then, happy watching.